Welcome back. You're watching What's Hot on CNBC TV 18. The grand old party of Indian politics is singing the AADMI song once again. The Congress has released its election manifesto, which is looking to carry forward promises made in 2004. So on What's Hot tonight, we ask, what is the agenda of the Congress? Joining us tonight is Ashwani Kumar, veteran congressman and Minister of State for Industry in the present government. Mr. Kumar, many thanks for joining us. So as far as the manifesto is concerned, it seems to be a balancing act, balancing the needs of the AADMI and that of business and private industry. But where are the new ideas as far as economic development is concerned? Because it's the same schemes that seem to be extending if you do come back into power.
Well, there are a number of new ideas. You talked about the NREGA. Let me tell you, in the last dispensation, we had spoken of one job per household. If you read the print, it clearly states that we would try and ensure for every individual a job, and that is a lot of improvement on what we had stated in the last manifesto. We've also promised 100 rupees of the minimum wage, which was not there in the last manifesto. It was a frozen wage based upon a number of factors different from state to state. So that's just an example. You are right that this is a balancing act, and we have so stated that Congress's path is the middle path. And what we have tried to endeavor to hold out to the people of India is a hope in their future, a hope which is one of a secure nation, a prosperous nation, of economic growth, which is inclusivist, where the benefit of growth will trickle down to the poorest of the poor. We have talked of a comprehensive agenda of empowerment, and therefore it is not merely novelty which we are focusing on. We are seeking to extend our programs to the second stage, and that is why we have talked of a number of other things that we hope to do to improve upon what we've been able to do in the last 5 years.
Mr. Kumar, the government had said that we will get back to the track of fiscal prudence once the slowdown is over, but that doesn't seem to have found a mention in your manifesto.
If you would like to read the other part of the manifesto, it clearly states that we have not reneged on our promise of fiscal prudence and fiscal responsibility. Although we have always stated that extraordinary circumstances demand extraordinary actions. And what we have stated is that we will take into concern, and the concerns of the poor would be our foremost concerns. Yet we have not given up the principle of fiscal responsibility and prudence. All we have said is that we will do the balancing act, a phrase with which you started. And in that balancing act, the people who would be the center of our concern are the people who are most vulnerable to the global economic situation and who need to be helped.
Right, but sir, let me interrupt you here. When you're talking of an interest waiver for all farmers who repay bank loans on schedule, you're asking the banks to take a substantial hit. So is the government going to provide some kind of subvention, or how are you actually hoping to pull this off?
Well, we've also said that within 45 days of coming to power, we will be presenting a full-fledged budget, and you would find that in those provisions, there would be a mechanism which would be necessary to ensure that we fulfill our promises and yet do not give up on fiscal prudence.
When we talk about disinvestment and privatization, Mr. Kumar, that was a dirty word in the present government, but in your manifesto you've spoken about how you will lift public sector unit, although maintaining the government's ownership. Does that mean that you will try aggressively pushing as far as listing PSUs is concerned?
Well, let me, without getting into the specifics of what we will do, but let me tell you, we will push through with the economic reforms. We believe that the first and foremost job of any government is to unleash the economic potential of the country, and we believe that the second tier and third tier economic reforms, which need to push the economy to greater heights, is necessary. And if that involves rationalizing the equity structures of the public sector shareholdings without giving up control, we could consider that. That has been one of our stated positions. Without giving up control of public sector companies and of the Navratnas. Loss-making companies, we will try and revive them. In fact, Mr. Pranab Mukherjee, in his reply to the budget debate, gave extensive figures and examples of what we have done to strengthen the public sector. And that commitment remains as steadfast today as it always was.
All right, so since you are talking about economic reforms now, I've noticed that some of the controversial reforms like insurance, pension or retail don't seem to find any mention in the manifesto. Is that an indication that they are on the back burner and it's pretty much going to be a common minimum program that will actually be implemented in the era of coalition politics?
Well, you know, the manifesto possibly cannot contain the nitty-gritty of what will be done to achieve the larger purpose and to paint the larger picture. The manifesto is a statement of intent and gives a direction to where we are going. Let me assure you that on the principle of economic reform, there is wide consensus within the party. There is wide consensus in the country. India has achieved record economic growth under the UP in the last 5 years, all because of the way we pressed ahead with prudent economic policies, and we will continue to do that. We would feel, hopefully, less constrained this time than we were in the past. And I have reason to believe that the track record of the UPA in the past 5 years would enable us to get the people of India to support us on whatever we want to do on the economic front. But remember one thing, our model of growth will always be inclusivist model. A daring India, as the Prime Minister often says, must also be a caring India. And that's the balance we are trying to achieve.